Ford is losing money on each EV it sells. Jim Farley, the CEO of Ford, was pulling a U-turn in an electric vehicle. What is the reason? An elusive charging station. When it comes to Ford's plans to scale up electric vehicle production, Farley says there's no U-turn at all. Ford's third-quarter earnings, released Thursday, show growing EV losses as the automaker faces pricing pressure and slowing demand. Ford sold 20,900 EGO, 62 EVs in Q3, edging out rival General Motors. The growth was thanks to rising Mustang Mach-E output. Although Mach-E sales were down 20% through the first half of the year, Ford said it was due to a revamp at its plant in Mexico, where the model is built. Despite setbacks, the company that revolutionized the auto industry with the Model T is determined to be a major player in the electric revolution, too. Competition is fierce. Tesla dominates the industry, both in the US and globally, and legacy automakers are falling over themselves to figure out exactly how and how quickly they can catch up. Ford planned to make EVs at a rate of 600,000 per year by the end of 2023. But Farley, who has led the company since 2020, recently announced the company was moving that milestone into next year. A goal of 2 million by 2026 was delayed indefinitely. Tesla, the EV leader, sold 1.3 million last year. Mach-E sales rose 42.5% in the third quarter, with 14,842 units sold. The Mach-E set a new record with 5,872 models sold in September alone. Sales of Ford's electric pickup fell 46% in the quarter. Ford told last month that F-150 Lightning production is starting to ramp after a 6-week shutdown to expand the Rouge EV Center with limited deliveries across July and August. Despite this, Ford revealed plans to cut one of 3 shifts at the facility earlier this month. Ford denied the move was related to the ongoing UAW strikes, instead attributing it to supply chain issues. Ford is losing money on each AV it sells, so the reason for the shift in plans didn't seem to be a mystery. The announcement made headlines, and despite solid overall earnings, Ford shares dropped. But in an interview with NPR, Farley denied there was any significant shift in strategy, calling the reasons for the delay almost mechanical. Ford has introduced significant incentives on both the Mustang Mach-E and F-150 Lightning to stimulate demand. One of the biggest growth opportunities for us was our plant in Cologne, Germany, where we're going to launch the electric Explorer, Farley said from behind the wheel of a red Lightning. And we weren't happy with thermal propagation, the countermeasures around fire with the vehicle, he added. So we took a 6-month delay to get the engineering right. That was the principal reason. Legacy automakers have struggled to make EVs profitably. Ford lost $1 billion on its EV unit last quarter. The company loses money on every Ford Lightning it sells, and that was before it knocked thousands of dollars off the sticker price this summer, trying to keep up with a Tesla-triggered price war that's pulling EV prices down. Meanwhile, Farley, a former Lexus executive who spent 15 years at Ford, says the next generation of Ford EVs will be profitable. He's previously described those future vehicles as radically simplified, using different battery chemistry and more efficient manufacturing. So why would Ford want to scale up EVs in the near term? Why not just wait and sell the vehicle it can make money on? For us to be the best-selling electric pickup is super important strategically, Farley said. The first people who buy our first-generation electrics are going to be the first people to buy our second-generation electrics. 50% of Lightning customers are new to us, 60% in Mustang Mach-E, Farley said. We're getting customers we've never seen before, and that's very attractive for a company. You're either growing or shrinking. We want to be a growing company. Ford is hoping not just to get those new customers in a profitable second-generation vehicle, but also to sell them subscriptions and software upgrades for years to come. In the third quarter, Ford's electric vehicle shipments increased by 44%. The higher volume contributed to Ford's Model E units revenue growing 26% YoY to $1.8 billion. Despite higher volume, Ford's EV losses continued to pile up in Q3. Ford posted an operating loss of $1.3 billion, up from $1.1 billion in Q3. Ford's operating margins fell to minus 75.6% in the quarter from minus 58.9% in Q2. The company expects a full-year loss of $4.5 billion for its EV unit. The Ford lost around $36,000 for every EV sold in the quarter. According to the company, buyers are unwilling to pay a premium for their EVs over gas or hybrids, which is pressuring prices and profitability. As a result, Ford is pushing back around $12 billion in planned investments to boost EV manufacturing capacity. Ford is balancing demand with profits as it aims to keep up with Tesla, which has been cutting prices all year. In response, Ford introduced a new flash trim that will join the 2024 Lightning lineup. The 2024 F150 Lightning Flash will start at around $70,000 with 320 miles range, a tech-loaded interior, and a heat pump. Ford says the Flash hits the sweet spot with features pulled from XLT and Lariat models. We do not know what the gross margin is on Ford's EVs to be able to determine if they are losing money on each one sold. All we know is that at an EBIT level, they are losing $1.3 billion on 36,000 units and have minus 75.6% EBIT, but that EBIT includes all the investment in new vehicles being developed. Let's look at Tesla. In 2017, 5 years after it launched the Model S and 9 years after the original Roadster, Tesla had a gross margin of 23%, having sold 103,000 units. However, it had an operating margin of minus 14% and a net margin of minus 19%. So the costs of developing just one new model pulled a 23% gross margin on a premium car down to a 19% loss. How many new cars is Ford working on at the moment that aren't yet contributing to sales? Ford recently took an unprecedented step to address those shortfalls. Earlier this summer, the company announced it was adopting Tesla's charging technology in exchange for giving Ford drivers access to Tesla's popular, reliable supercharger network. That access will start in January. I'm sure glad we did the Tesla charging deal. That's all I can say, Farley grinned. That was a good move. Charging infrastructure, along with the supply of raw materials, the rapid growth of battery manufacturing, and the need for an expanded electric grid are major preoccupations for the auto world right now as everyone tries to figure out how quickly the industry can and will go electric. Ford announced last quarter it would be pushing back its 600,000 EV run rate goal until next year, citing EV demand will be slower than expected. Overall, Ford's third quarter revenue was up 11% to $44 billion due to the effects of the UAW strike and the tentative agreement met Wednesday. Ford is withdrawing its full-year guidance. The move follows GM, who also withdrew full-year guidance following the UAW strike. GM also posted revenue of $44 billion on higher-margin pickup and SUV sales. The automaker announced it would be delaying production of the Equinox, Silverado RST, and GMC Sierra EVs by a few months. Meanwhile, at least Ford is willingly sharing its EV margins. GM has chosen not to. Thank you for joining us on this electrifying journey. Don't forget to subscribe to Highway Heavens for more exciting updates on the automotive world and hit that notification bell to stay tuned for our next adventure. Until then, keep your engines running and your curiosity alive.